Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
And it's time to catch up with my good friend and good mate. He is too, and he loves this radio station as well. And that, of course, is John Macbeth. John, how are you?
I'm good, Ron. Thank you. Yeah, very good. After such good weather, it's been fantastic.
Oh, it's been lovely, isn't it? It feels not quite summery. But
not summer yet, mate.
No, but it's good. It's good. We were just talking off air, and one of the greats of New Zealand rugby, who died suddenly. He'd been ill for a while. About 24. A day and a bit ago, didn't he?
Yeah, that's about all.
Yeah. Hell of a guy. Yeah, and you had a bit to do with him too, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he was a polarising sort of person, not so much for his play, but when he finished playing, but he was quite a colossus on the field. He gained the utmost respect from all his opponents and, internationally. And he was such a driving force in that Auckland team, which became one of the great teams of all time. So on the field, he was just extraordinary. And, I noticed that when on TV, when they mentioned it last night, the only really bit of rugby that they hauled out was him diving out of the line-out against Wales. But he did a lot more than that. He was just such a powerful lock, a brilliant jumper in the line-outs because they didn't get lifted in his day. And on tour, and I toured with him 2 or 3 times, he was just such a player that everyone looked up to. But of course, he went further than that. He was the spearhead of and spokesperson and driving force behind getting players some reward for the amount of time they spent away from jobs and all that sort of thing. So he, spearheaded the move towards professionalism. And later on, of course, outside of that, he became, very well known for his work in the entertainment field, being the manager for such famous people as Rachel Hunter and so on. So I remember when he'd finished playing, of course, he was aligned with John Hart a lot. And although, John Hart told him at one stage, stop saying that I'm the best coach because it worked against Hart. But we had a program on TV when I first started there back in the 90s called Boots and All, which is a panel discussion. And it was always really thrilling when Andy Haden was on because he would just not hold back. And he would sit there grinning afterwards and say, well, that would have stirred people up, wouldn't it? And that's exactly what he did. He was fantastic.
And when you think about it too, I mean, he played more rugbies for New Zealand than one of the greatest players that's ever played for New Zealand, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He was right up there. He was a first choice. And you could go through the number of partners that he had as a lock, and there were plenty of them. But it was always A.M. Haden. Auckland would be in there whenever he was available. An All Black team that went onto the field when he was at his peak without him was not the best sort of. It was weakened by him not being there.
Yeah, for sure it is. Yeah, sad miss really. Let's talk about the Hurricanes, and I have to again. I sort of have to say that I guess the Cantabs were saying, we were pretty close to it. We should, we were unlucky not to win. Well, they didn't win, and they were outplayed.
They were. I mean, you're quite right, and most of us would be sitting there thinking, it's going to come soon, it's going to come there, they're going to fight back, they'll win it in the last 15, which, they do so often, and they have done this season, against the likes of the Blues and other teams which have rattled them along. But they just had that composure. But this time, the defensive work of the Hurricanes and their ability to score some good tries, and the goal kicking of Geordie Barrett, they held out. I was most heartened by that because when I sat down to watch it, I said to my wife, expect the Hurricanes to, lose by probably 12, 15 points or 12 points.
I only said 3.
Did you?
Yes,
I wasn't that convinced. Even though they played well to beat the Blues the previous week, I failed to recognise that they were stepping up all the time from an average start to the season. They've built up nicely, and that's a pretty impressive performance from Jason Holland as the head coach, having taken over late in the piece when Plumtree went, and the fact they've had 1 or 2 injuries, and they don't have Bowden Barrett there, and so it's pretty good. And that forward pack, Ron, hasn't really been dealt to, has it? They've held their own, without doubt.
Oh, they have, no doubt about it. Nice to see the couple of brothers going to get a chance to play together for a couple of games anyway. Yeah.
Well, we wonder what Julian Savier's, what sort of shape he's in. I think he'll probably be, even if we only see him for 20 minutes, it'll get the crowd along, won't it?
Yeah, he's like you and I. He's an athlete. Yeah,
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, of course it is.
I can't even spell the word now.
Yeah, just talk a little bit of bowls. Of course, it's heading in to the season, if you like, not too far away. And, of course, the first one is at your club, our club, actually, and it's going to be a beauty by the look of things.
Well, the V.C Cup, which is Keith Elliott, who was a war hero, of course, and won the Victoria Cross, and over the last 27 years now, I think, formerly the Raumati South Club and now Raumati Club are holding this annual tournament. This year it's in the last weekend of August, so it probably won't be warm, but hopefully, as usual, it will be dry. And we've got some really good entries, and the same's happening around the province, because Arapamu Beach have their major tournament the week after. But we've got Grizz Wiley coming, so that gives us a bit of interest. He's coming up from the South Island with his team, and we've got a team that arrived last year for the first time, made up of Hikurangi and Wanganui players, so they'll be there, and the usual New Plymouth or Taranaki players. So it's really good when you get these sort of events, Ron, and they have such a good reputation that you just sort of send out the invitations and ask for payment, and the payment comes in immediately, and suddenly it's full within about 5 days. So that was great.
Yeah,
I had a call today from someone wanting to know if we had any gaps. So.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Pat McCleary and I were a bit lax in the game that is going on the week after our club, so we're going to have to miss out, unfortunately.
Really?
Didn't get the money in time. That's how much the money went in. But there you go.
Yeah,
I wasn't happy though. If you played in the club for a while, or you played in that tournament for about 7 years, you think they'd let you know. But anyway, it doesn't matter. All right, mate. You be good,
All
eh?
right. Nice to chat, mate. Thank you.
You have a good weekend. Bye.
Yeah, we'll do. Righto, bye.
106.3 Beach FM.